You want to lose your civilization? You want to take your country down from the inside out with your own bare hands? Then you must follow the Bloemfontein High Court.
A landmark ruling from the Bloemfontein High Court. In a historic decision, 2 husbands have won the right to adopt their wives' surnames. And this groundbreaking ruling has sparked widespread debate and is set to challenge traditional gender norms. In fact, yesterday here on the AM Report, we ran a poll, many people saying that the idea of it is absolutely ridiculous.
They recently passed a law that allows husbands to take their wives' surnames. Why? Why would that be something that would necessarily have to be done? Why is that so important that South Africa has to take part in a civilization society splitting idea?
Many people saying that it's a ridiculous move. But obviously we'll get your views on it. But I want to hear your thoughts on just when you heard about the ruling by the Bloemfontein High Court, was this a step in the right direction?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that it's a progressive decision. It's a decision that recognizes that this was still an instance of patriarchy being reinforced, and that it was a case of unfair discrimination based on gender and sex. And the court said, no, this is something that needs to be remedied. So absolutely, it's a step in the right direction.
Patriarchy works. How do you build a civilization? How do you build a great country? How do you build a great people? You use patriarchy, because patriarchy works. Patriarchy has been given a bad name by people who do not know what they're talking about or who have nefarious agendas that separates families, destroy society, or are misguided and misdirected while both playing the victim and being power hungry. That's the sort of people that push that patriarchy is a bad thing. They have the bad manners to redefine patriarchy as power at the expense of women, as if society was built at the expense of women and not for them. The whole world was tamed and civilized because men wanted their women and children to live a better life. Patriarchy was not at the expense of women, but it was for them. How do you build a great civilization? How do you build great communities, societies, and a great people? You use patriarchy because it works. So what is patriarchy when it's properly defined? It's the rule of the father. And what does patriarchy do? It is the division of labor, the separation of roles that align best with our biology, with our natural instincts, our natural talents, proclivities, and actually allow both men and women to build families together and to build civilization together.
You're supposed to take the surname of your husband, because the husband is the head, is the one who is going to pay lobola, is the one who is like a father, to show that you are welcome to that family, to show that you are married to that man. You're supposed to take his surname. According to me, when a man takes a wife surname, it's like we are killing our culture.
This ruling by the Bloemfontein High Court is misguided and wrong-headed. It denies what is natural and what is right. It is disfigured. The sort of world that the smelly, unbathed gender studies person describes of a world where women were victimized and men just pushing women around for all of time has never existed. It has always been by the sacrifice of both the man and the woman, the man protecting the family, giving them his name. They are under his protection and his responsibility even to the ending of his life. Every bit of money he'll ever earn, everything he'll ever own, everything he'll ever work for is for those people, his wife and his children, and he leaves it to them because they bear his name and they carry it on. They are under his provision, protection, and responsibility. Women do not build civilizations because men are the natural leaders of life. If he takes that name, which is actually the name of his father-in-law, is he now not the head of his household? Is he supposed to follow his wife? Where to? Where can a man even follow a woman? To what? For what? How will you build a civilization and a society like this? Because when men do not take that place that comes natural to them to provide, protect, and lead and move society forward, what do you have? You have giant modern villages, which are informal settlements, because you're not building anything and you're not going anywhere. This is not something we should do here. This is foolishness. It's ridiculous. We have become too woke for our own good. This is girl power run amok. Men are the natural leaders of life. They provide, they produce, they innovate. They use logic over emotion. You are always able to hold them fully accountable for their actions. And the modern world doesn't change that. Just because now you have services from the police that protect you and from the government that give you money. And many of these women are married to the government there because they're on the grant. Just because you have that causes a lot of women to mistakenly think that everything that they have around them, everything that is built around them, all these things that are maintained and keep running is not created by men, maintained by men, and developed by men. Men have built everything that you see around you and continue to do so and maintain it every single day. And the fact that we're supposed to believe that men should take their wives' surnames is not only emasculating, it is a bad premise that will lead us down a very slippery slide into a society of weak men. Weak men create bad times. Subscribe to the channel. If you don't, I know you're the one that burnt down Parliament. The smelly gender study socialist has told women to live in a cloud of fear that men will constantly victimize you. Where has that ever been true, where men constantly victimize women? If men wanted to oppress women and shut down women and enslave all women all over the world, it would take about an hour. That will never happen and has never happened because that's not how men think. That's how smelly gender study socialists think. There is no way that could ever happen because that's not how men deal with women. That is not what is in a man's heart. What is in a man's heart is to bring order, to produce, and to move society forward. Men are the natural leaders of life. That's why the natural providers of life, the natural protectors of life, and the natural responsible, accountable people in all of life, that is why you take on their name. That is why you build under the umbrella of that person's name. How do you inspire a man to be the best he can be? You give him responsibility. And that responsibility causes him to rise to the occasion because he's built for it. This is not merely symbolic. This is not merely what is in a name, everything. It is not merely symbolic. It is not merely some little law. This is a smelly gender studies coup by smelly socialists who have no vision for the future and no idea of the past in reality. Everything they think about the past is skewed and misguided and warped. They have a disordered view of the past that is not based on reality. And the Bloemfontein High Court has just endorsed that and put a stamp on it and said, yes, you can take on your wife's name.
In this case, it's a very interesting case, and it's obviously a very recent case at the High Court. And the court did find that it was unconstitutional, and it was most likely on equality, that there's no equality in both people having their own names or surnames being the representative of their family. So it is a patriarchal thing where we see that women are always having to take men's name.
Those who speak about this law complain that when a woman gets married, her surname immediately gets changed to her husband's name by law and on paper. But however, if the husband wanted to change his surname to his wife's name, that process does not even exist. You know why it doesn't exist? Because people in the past were not idiots. They were not delusional, nonsensical morons who did not believe in common sense and in what they could visibly see. The patriarchy is aligned to our biology, our natural talents, and our natural instincts because it is natural and the patriarchy works. It builds the greatest civilizations, it builds the greatest people, and it is the best thing for women, children, and society. Men move the world forward. That's what they do. We now have a course on Teachable. It's for boys between the ages of 10 and 18, about 12 men from the Bible, where we teach about manhood, masculinity, and becoming a man. Check it out. And that name is a sign of a family. It's a banner like they used to have. The homestead would be called by that name. The castle would have a banner with the name of the family on it. Because once someone comes after your name, you must protect it even to the ending of your life. And that's what men do for their wives and their family. But these unkept women who have no husbands, who have no protection, who have no umbrella over them, believe that they no longer need men while they live in the most modern, most safest, most productive, with the longest life expectancy, where you don't die in childbirth, and the ability to do pretty much whatever you want all the time, that was built by men. We do well to remember that. This law is not what is best for South Africa. It is a strange madness and a disorder that we should not allow. It is unrealistic, it is moving away from reality, and it is foolish. It is not groundbreaking. It is actually breaking up the ground that will swallow the society and swallow this country and break the society from the inside out. The family, the wife, the children must always take the husband's name. I would even go as far as to saying all those women who are raising grant babies should not do this disgusting trend that has emerged in South Africa, where women give the child their surname, their maiden name. The child must still bear the father's name, whether this child is a grant baby or not. I would go as far as to say that, because who is this child if he doesn't have his father's name? The conclusion is simple. We should not become a country of delusional wokeists. Woke people with no logic and no common sense. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it. Some things should be conserved because they keep society together. They are like that for a reason. A man comes across a fence in a field. He doesn't just break it down and open up the field. He asks himself first, why is this fence here? These are the sort of fundamental things that people overlook, progressive little trendy ideas to take on and to shove through the courts, and the courts agrees with them. No. This is why we need a conservative government that'll pin down on these details, because these details are what uphold the structure of society. Patriarchy works. It aligns with our natural instincts, our biology, and our natural talents, desires, and will. Why should women and children take the man's name? Because it works. A saying, evil has no substance of its own, but is only the defect, excess, perversion, or corruption of that which has substance. John Henry Newman. And that is what is happening right now. This idea being pushed through the Bloemfontein High Court is an evil. It is a perversion of what works, of the patriarchy and the system that has been. It is a defective way of thinking that thinks men have been oppressing women instead of building with women for all this time, for all of history. It is access over the top, too much. It is women power hungry, wanting to even dominate the very fabric of reality and deny the division of roles that comes naturally with what a man is and what a woman is. Because these are the same people that couldn't even tell you what a man is and what a woman is. It is a corruption. It corrupts what is good. It corrupts what is right. It corrupts what is just. It corrupts what is normal and what is ordered for that which is trendy, hip and woke, only to tear down the society from the inside out. I recommend you stand against these sort of laws and the sort of people that propagate them. They are smelly, unbathed, socialist, gender study types. The case is closed. Do not fall for this. Do not do this. This is evil. Thank you for listening. If you dare, buy us a coffee. The link is in the description.